Ladies and gentlemen, for all your wrestling updates, storylines, and prediction, Mark Flores brings you the Pay-Per-Review Podcast, brought to you by Game Swappers. Thank you. Let's go right into the business here. I want to thank you guys for joining me here live on March 4th, 2016, here with another installment of the Pay-Per-Review broadcast. This is going to be an update on some storylines, predictions, and maybe some Bullet Club rumors going down in the WWE. But let's start off with what I wanted to make sure that we got into tonight. First and foremost, Dean Ambrose. WWE is teasing us that Dean Ambrose might beat Triple H at Roadblock in this coming few weeks. And if it happens, it needs to be on a few terms that us as WWE fans don't find predictable. The Triple H versus Dean Ambrose at Roadblock event is going to happen out of... there might be several outcomes coming out of this match. Outcome one is that Triple H loses and then uses his rematch clause at WrestleMania and faces Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose at the same time in a fatal three-way match. That's one of the things I'm going to assume, but we got to remember that this is all falling into what happens to Roman Reigns' surgery. Because if you guys do not know, Roman Reigns is actually, his nose injury is actually not kayfabe at all. It is actually like a legitimate surgery that he needed. It's a real nose injury. And if this doesn't heal in time, then we could possibly have Dean Ambrose winning at Roadblock, or the match being called a DQ, and then they just have a rematch at WrestleMania without Roman Reigns at all. A lot of people thought that the Roman Reigns injury was just to keep him off TV because he was getting a lot of unwanted boos and heat that Vince McMahon and WWE didn't want him to get in the lead up to WrestleMania. Because if you have someone that's supposed to beat the heel champion at WrestleMania and the face is actually getting all these jeers and boos, that's not going to work. That's not going to put him over at all. That's actually doing Roman Reigns no justice at all. It's actually doing the fans at its source no justice at all to me. I think the promo that Dean Ambrose cut on Thursday was actually a great one, because he kind of alluded that he might change the pace of WWE by switching out the main event headline between him and Triple H and Roman Reigns, because we have to remember that this match at Roadblock does seem predictable, but with WWE kind of giving storylines out that it isn't, then maybe they know something that we don't as far as Roman Reigns' surgery times go. I've said it once, I'll say it before, I don't think Roman Reigns is ready to be a champion. I think he's being force-fed to the WWE universe, and that doesn't do us any good when Roman Reigns is injured and they have him conveniently come back at WrestleMania just to win it right then and there. This the same thing that happened at WrestleMania, where we kind of knew that he was going to win WrestleMania and headline against Brock Lesnar last year. I think Dean Ambrose is going to be a good change of pace for what we have. I think he's better on the mic. He has a better moveset than Roman Reigns. I mean, as long as better, you got to think about Roman Reigns. To top Roman Reigns' moveset, you don't have to go far. To top his mic skills, you really don't have to go far at all. To have someone more deserving than Roman Reigns is Dean Ambrose, and that's just straight up. I mean, you got to think about what we have to deal with here as fans is that we don't like seeing Roman Reigns do anything at all anymore. We're kind of sick and tired of it. Like I was telling you, it'd be a good change of pace for the WWE. We have always guessed the last few champions to come out as far as who's going to do title changes and everything. We didn't see Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. A lot of people didn't see that coming. I kind of saw that as a possibility, but it was a really far-fetched possibility. it's preferred to have Dean Ambrose win the title at WrestleMania because we don't need to get Roman Reigns to have boos. We don't need him to have boos as champion at WrestleMania because that just will soil the whole event. I mean, WrestleMania is the showcase of the immortals. That's how you become immortalized, is by putting on showcases there at WrestleMania. But if you're not, if there's no faith for you as the audience sees it, then your performance goes on to blind eyes. It's not, if Roman Reigns wins it and everyone knows that it's predictable, then not a lot of people will be so keen on his title reign. Just like his other two short-lived title reigns, no one was really going for it. The only time that people went over for Roman Reigns is that he finally won the championship, rightfully so, just because he had to sock out Vince McMahon and defeat Sheamus. And in all honesty, no one really likes seeing Sheamus as champion either. Let's just be honest there. But anyway, I wanted to get to the new to my other storyline change, or my rumor that I'm hearing. I'm looking around a lot of articles online, and I kind of saw that the teaser that Finn Balor's given out on his Instagram account is saying that he might bring back, he might bring the version of Bullet Club to WWE. For a lot of people who don't know, that Bullet Club, the Bullet Club is went over really well at New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's basically their version of the NWO, and TNA's. It'd be like TNA's version of. It'd be the TNA version of Aces and Eights. Just as like a clique of guys that just band together and cut promos, and just how the NWO was back when it was started in WCW. So what we have here, we already have a couple of people already in the mix. We have Finn Balor, and then we have AJ Styles, and we're just gonna miss those two other marquee signings that Finn Balor's waiting for in NXT. So this might bring out Bulletproof. The illusion that the tease that Finn Balor was giving out on his Instagram account, saying that he stay tuned for Bulletproof. So what might happen is it might happen. I kind of predict that it might happen after WrestleMania or during WrestleMania, but what we're dealing with is, if AJ Styles and Y2J have a match at WrestleMania, then you're possibly looking at AJ Styles doing a heel turn and actually bringing out Finn Balor and the two marquee signings that NXT might have, and they're kind of keeping it down in secret, but it might be really good. So what we're looking at here is, in all honesty, in my opinion, I think that the whole Bulletproof thing will definitely sell, but we're dealing with a few issues there as far as that goes. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Carl Anderson, and will this new group outshine the hottest group in WWE? Will it outshine the New Day? You need to address these issues. I mean, I think creative has addressed these issues, but we got to see. Do the Bulletproof members have charisma in the States to win over the United States audience? The WWE universe is primarily the United States audience as far as national broadcasts go, but you have to think about it. A strong majority of the WWE universe do not know anything outside of that realm. So this can either backfire, or WWE can try and use the notoriety of the Bullet Club to make Bulletproof and utilize similar angles to make this group get over. But you have to see is will Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and the new NXT signings with Carl Anderson, will they be able to get over with the crowd? I mean, you got to understand is that Finn Balor has a very thick Irish accent. It's very hard for him to cut promos and feel confident because he doesn't sound like everyone else. That's the strong truth of that. But who's going to be the man to hold the anchor of the microphone when the Bulletproof comes in? These are all new guys. We don't have a familiar face leading this group. I haven't heard anything about a familiar face leading the group at all. So this could be something that that might happen. It might not. But I mean, all the pieces to this puzzle are right in front of us. We just have to connect them. On a 1 to 10, I think the risk level for this is at a 7 and an 8, just because you're bringing in older talent like Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Carl Anderson. You're bringing them from other promotions just to capitalize on the profit of the Bullet Club to make Bulletproof. This is going to be a new this Bulletproof thing is going to be new to a majority of the WWE fans, and none of them are going to be quite aware as, smarks and people that are savvy with New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor. They will know, but it's who knows. What's going to happen is either, the WWE fans get over it, get over with it. They're all in agreement with it. And then, it might even attract some people over from New Japan Pro Wrestling fan base to actually tune into WWE. So, it's a high risk thing. I mean, if it doesn't take off, you have to realize that major moves need to be done. Like, you have to see that, well, what can we do with Finn Balor now? Like, the Bulletproof thing didn't work out. What can we do with Finn Balor now? I know he's an extremely great wrestler. He does have the look, but you have to have him figure out these objectives that he needs to, get cleared out. Is that, does he have the ability to be confident to cut a promo in the WWE? Because in NXT, I mean, his wrestling ability outshines that, but you can only take that so far because your storytelling starts with the promo, it ends in the ring. He already has the storytelling with his ring psychology in the ring, but you have to see is that he needs to start that with the microphone. Apollo Crews is the same victim of that, where his athletic work and his in-ring ability isn't up to par with his charisma and his microphone promo ability. So, and then maybe too, you might be dealing with a legal issue with New Japan Pro Wrestling because they're still the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club is frequent with the Young Bucks. It's frequent with Kenny Omega. You have to see is that Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, this Bullet Club thing might be a legal issue because you're looking at a thing that's you're capitalizing on something that's similar in a different promotion. Who knows? We'll see what happens with that. I mean, those are the only pivotal storyline changes that we had as far as SmackDown goes. You did have a confirmed fatal three-way at WrestleMania with Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte. I already gave my 2 cents about that. I think Sasha Banks is gonna get her due at WrestleMania. I don't think Becky Lynch is ready to be champion yet. I don't think she's that over yet. I mean, she does have a fan base and everything, and I think Charlotte she did her part as an amazing heel for her to be the heel champion that puts the babyface Sasha Banks over at WrestleMania. That is what I definitely think. Now let's get on to Kurt Angle's match with Bobby Roode. A couple nights ago, I was able to watch this match. TNA has a YouTube channel that gives you free access to this, so I just did a quick little scouting report on it. He did one against Bobby Roode and Drew Galloway, and I think that Kurt Angle at his age is pulling off good matches. They're very short matches. So you can't really expect nothing. I mean, he's 46 years old. I mean, this guy, for him moving at 46, you kind of have to suspend your sense of belief that he's actually the same Kurt Angle that we had in 2000, in the new millennium in 2000. This isn't the same guy, but as far as his work and his conditioning, he's still all there, just in a condensed set. Let's go right into it. It was a great match, the one with him and Bobby Roode. I'm giving Angle a break since he is 45 and 46 years old. I don't like being quite the cynic when it comes to, or to be overly critical when it comes to this match because I'm a huge Kurt Angle fan. I thought it was slow paced. I think Angle still moves well for being 46, and this match lasted about 8.5 minutes. 12 total, but you have to count the in-ring entrances. It took it to about 12 minutes and 58 seconds. So I gave it a rough estimate, about 8.5 minutes of an actual match. Kurt Angle's upper body still toned. He wasn't overly jacked like he ever in his career. He was just a really lean guy. I really think the mat work between him and between Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode was a little lackluster, but only because Bobby Roode isn't as experienced at the mat work as Kurt Angle is. So, like I told people before, is the mat, just mat exchanges and chain wrestling, that works really well, but you need to have two people that are super savvy at it, or two people that orchestrate it beforehand very well. I like the submission exchange at the end. There was an ankle lock to the crossface, to Bobby Roode's crossface at the end. I thought it was really good. There was an actual the match ended as so where Bobby Roode was getting reversed out of I think it was a Hurricane Rana, and then Kurt Angle slips into an ankle lock. But then no, actually it wasn't like that. That actually what ended up actually happening was I think Bobby Roode tried to do a power bomb, but then Angle was able to slip under. Oh no, I exactly remember. I'm sorry for giving around dead air, but I know exactly how it happened. It happened under a covered pin, and then Bobby Roode was slipped over and landed on his back with Kurt Angle cradling him for the pin. I thought that was it wasn't a marquee kind of finish that we were looking for. You're looking for Kurt Angle to either finish you with the Angle slam or the ankle lock. But either way, it was still a match to be sought, just because this is his farewell tour. I mean, we're definitely gonna. What I'm thinking is that we might be able to see Kurt Angle in the WWE at a later date, just because he's been super specific on him not leaving wrestling, but he was definite in leaving TNA. So that's what he's very specific on. So as long as he comes back to WWE, I want to see him do a final run. I think that'd be perfect for what he can do. I mean, the guy's an amazing talent to have. To have him do a final run in WWE, I think is crucial. But anyway, let's get to the commercials real quick. Today's pay-per-review podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Trade in your retro games and your modern-day consoles, Xbox One, PS4. Go ahead and trade in your NES, your Super NES, games, parts, accessories, controllers. You can get a hold of Game Swappers at 909-267-4270, or hit them up on Instagram at Game Swappers. That's at GAMESWAPPERS. And like you said, that will definitely give you, you're looking at trade credit, you're looking at buy, sell, trade. So whatever you have to get, they usually always have some good items up in their showcase for either trade or either to buy. So, and then be sure to stick to their claim sales. And if you need to have your items shipped, Game Swappers does ship to all 50 states. So make sure you look out for that too. So if you're not in the if you're not in the California area, Game Swappers does ship. So Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Once again, that number is 909-267-4270, or you can catch them on Instagram at Game Swappers, GAMESWAPPERS. Okay, so now the commercials are out of the way. That was pretty much the SmackDown coverage of their segments and everything. I didn't really, there wasn't really any major storylines developing as far as anything important goes. So the next part of my episode, I wanted to cover the right now of the wrestling business. I wanted to start off with giving you my favorite 10 wrestlers in the business today. Before I forget, Hayabusa passed away today. I believe he was 47 years old. So, like I said, wrestling legend Hayabusa was a legend in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, like I said, I wanted to make sure that we had a moment of silence for Hayabusa, because I mean he was a great talent. From what I've seen in a couple of matches that he had, he was a very good wrestler. So he's dead at 47 years young. I hope WWE pays tribute to that, but we can have a brief moment of silence for Hayabusa, because a wrestling legend is gone now. Hopefully he does get inducted into the Hall of Fame, but rest in peace, Hayabusa, at the tender age of 47. Okay, so now I have my top 10. Well, no, okay, let's go to this. My 10 favorite wrestlers in the business today. I have Brock Lesnar. We all know Brock Lesnar is an amazing draw. He's a pay-per-view. He puts butts in seats. Great move set. He still looks like a freak of nature. I do like the gimmick he's going with being the Beast. I've liked him when I liked him ever since he's came back to WWE. I really enjoyed the match he had with John Cena at SummerSlam. I really enjoyed that because John Cena getting beaten to a pulp like that and losing the championships was really good. I think for John Cena John Cena letting Brock Lesnar go over like that in that fashion really goes to show you that John Cena is definitely, he's a team player as far as the WWE goes. And then my next one is Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins is going to be an amazing talent for the years to come. He's overcoming an injury he really messed up his ACL, so he's still in month 3 of 9 as far as recovering goes. So we might not see him till maybe about Survivor Series. Maybe as far as him coming back and leading up to an actual match, it might be till after to the Royal Rumble. I hope he's a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, maybe. But that's just wishful thinking. You don't want to keep a guy like him off TV for long because a lot of people can forget. That's how WWE usually works sometimes. The next wrestler I have is Cesaro. I really think Cesaro is the strongest athlete they have in the wrestling business today. One of the very few athletes who can do a deadlift superplex. And what that is that he's on the inside in the middle turnbuckle, and the opponent is on the outside, not on the turnbuckle, but with the 2 feet flat on the outside of the mat. And he's able to lift up his opponent all the way over the turnbuckle, from the middle of the turnbuckle on the inside, just straight deadlifts him out. But due to how WWE works, they don't usually allow certain moves like that. Certain strenuous moves don't bode well with WWE. There's only a select few people who can actually do a pile driver these days, as far as WWE goes. So I hope Cesaro has a big 2016, 2017. He's still nursing his arm injury. I did see that he is at the Arnold Classic. I think he's going to be at the Arnold Classic on Sunday. So the Arnold Classic is going on, by the way, and several NXT stars are there as well. My next wrestler is AJ Styles. I do appreciate his line of work in TNA. It's one of the very few wrestlers that I actually really paid attention to when he was in TNA. Him and Samoa Joe in particular, and when Kurt Angle would be there as well. I would watch several of his matches with Kurt Angle, and like I said, his moveset is beyond compare. He's a very unique specimen as far as in-ring ability goes. Definitely overdue. I definitely marked out the day of the Royal Rumble when he debuted. I was yelling very loudly in my house during when he became the number 3 entrant. For him to debut at the Royal Rumble, I found it very nice that WWE would actually do that. I think that was perfect for him to come out like that. But when he debuted, they focused on Roman Reigns the whole time, and whoever was in the production truck needed to have the Titantron debut. When you debut someone in the WWE, you do not focus on someone that's in the ring that's not being on the Titantron. You do not do that. What you have to do is take your camera. I don't even need to give you production critiques. This is common sense. Is that you take your camera, you focus on the Titantron because someone is debuting, somebody that has never been in the WWE before. This is this is long awaited since Sting finally showed up in WWE. AJ Styles, it was crazy enough to find out that he was going to get signed by WWE, but was he going to start in NXT? A talent like that doesn't start in NXT, but for him to debut at the Royal Rumble, I felt was very, very nice. Next wrestler is Kurt Angle. I can speak volumes about Kurt, but I just want to go from there. Is that he's still at 46. He's still a damn good wrestler. I think his mat skills are still second to none. I mean, he slowed down a little bit, but he still can put on a good match. Especially with his, what I do enjoy is seeing that he can actually get the ankle lock done in several different ways. You can do it, standing up, laying down as if you're doing a figure four. There's several iterations of it, and I do enjoy that. He's an actual pure wrestler. Great talent. He's been a great talent for a long time. The next wrestler I have to here is Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose does have a ton of potential. I was talking to a friend about a year and a half ago, talking about Dean Ambrose and thinking that he wasn't going to be over. The way that they had him defending the U.S. Championship with the Shield wasn't doing it for me, because I didn't like him. I didn't like his gimmick when he was with the Shield. No, just the part where he was actually holding the U.S. Championship with no reign to it. But this Dean Ambrose now, he's really coming into his own. He has his own thing. He's totally disassociated himself from his old Shield counterparts. Almost not to the point of Seth Rollins, but you're looking at this guy who's coming into his own right now, especially since Seth Rollins is out of the picture. You can think, Dean Ambrose is the fill-in for Seth Rollins and all this storyline stuff, just because Seth Rollins is injured to the point that he can't perform. But I do see big things coming for Dean Ambrose in the near future. We just have to be patient and wait. The next wrestler I have is Dolph Ziggler. I think he's the best seller in the business today. Every move that he gets put upon, I don't think he oversells. I think he sells just enough. It's to the point where everything looks like it nearly concusses him. I do enjoy his charisma, his in-ring. He has a good look to him, but his charisma. If you had to, it's his charisma is very infectious, and not a lot of people do enjoy that. But what we have here is a guy that should have been a big megastar and wasn't, just because of concussions, and that's just the fate of the WWE. If you're injury prone, there's pretty much the mid card for you. The same thing could be said for Bad News Barrett. But all in all, Dolph Ziggler's had a great career. He could have had a better one, but it's just the fate of injuries. He's always said that when his contract expires in 2017 that he's not coming back in the wrestling business. Who knows? Like I said, not everything is for sure. Money does talk in WWE, so a lot of people said that they wouldn't come back, but for the right price, they always do come back. So we just got to wait and see what we have there. My next guy is Kevin Owens. Initially, I wasn't really sold on the guy, but when I started looking at his matches in New Japan, not New Japan, but Ring of Honor, and the other wrestling promotions that he was in, doing his Kevin Steen thing, I really thought that it was awesome. I very underestimated him. It's very sad that I thought that this fat guy wasn't going to really do anything in the league, but I immediately took my words and ate them. And I ate them a lot, just because I knew that this guy can put on a good match. Despite his size, he has stamina to go in long matches. The matches that the three matches that he had against John Cena, spanning 3 different pay-per-views, one at Elimination Chamber, one at Battleground. I forget what the other third one was at, but those 2 matches, like I said, if I wanted to show you a good match, I'd show you those 2, and then I'd show you the one with John Cena and Cesaro. For the U.S. Open Challenge. The next guy I have is Jay Lethal. I've always been a big fan of Jay Lethal, especially when he was doing his Black Machismo thing in TNA. An impressionist second, but a good wrestler first. His Macho Man and Ric Flair promos are hilarious. But I do think Jay Lethal is definitely a good worker. I don't know. It tells me from him going from TNA to Ring of Honor, just really tells you that maybe this guy has some issues backstage. I have to see about that. I'd have to do more homework on that. But from a wrestling fan standpoint, and that's where I really like trying to be at. I look at it from all angles, but from a wrestling fan perspective, I think this guy is a really good talent. And maybe to have him in the WWE, I don't know yet. Maybe he might start off in NXT, but we don't know yet. I do know that WWE does sign people left and right nowadays. You looked at the hot streak that they've done with Austin Aries recently. So that'd be something to look out for as well. My next guy, the 10th and final favorite would be Apollo Crews. There's tremendous upside for this guy. His moveset is really deep. He has a really deep moveset. He's very strong. He does standing moonsaults. I mean, this guy's athleticism is rivaled only to that of Cesaro. I mean, but then again, I don't see Cesaro trying any moonsaults like that. So in a test of strength, I would like to see Cesaro and Apollo Crews go at it, because both of those guys are equal to the amount of strength that they have. I mean, you're looking at Apollo Crews and Cesaro, they're able to do, gorilla presses. And not a lot of people could do gorilla presses these days. It takes tremendous back strength and tremendous shoulders to do that. But anyway, those are my 10. Once you do a recap, we got Brock Lesnar, Seth Rollins, Cesaro, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Dean Ambrose, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Jay Lethal, and Apollo Crews. This is my next thing I have is 5 wrestlers and tag teams to look for in 2017. There's some NXT guys here to look for. So first off is Enzo and Cass. Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy definitely put on great promos. I think they're about top five in wrestling as far as, cutting promos, as far as I've seen. They're definitely going to be something to look forward to, and maybe even 2016 or 2017. I've heard grumblings that they might debut sometime after WrestleMania, just because we're kind of dealing with a drenched tag team division. There's not a lot of people doing tag teams in wrestling WWE anymore, because just simply the title hasn't had that much prestige, but now it's gaining some momentum just because we have New Day bringing in this new, just the New Day's being extremely over nowadays. So that's definitely something to look out for. The next batch of tag teams is Jason Jordan and Chad Gable. I thought Jason Jordan was going to be one of these busts in the beginning, but I do see that he does work very hard. It wasn't going to work out with him and Angelo Dawkins in the beginning, or him and Ty Dillinger, but the angle that they had where Chad Gable was wanting to work with Jason Jordan the whole time, and then they put on this good match together the first time, and then they go on this winning streak. I thought it was really entertaining. I think Chad Gable is small for his size, but he's still able to do some things. I mean, he has tremendous. Both of them are NCAA wrestlers, so both of these guys do know what they do follow the same lineage as a lot of wrestlers going on in this business today. So they're on the right track. I definitely do see some things going for them. So that'd be another thing to look out for. This is all NXT, by the way. I forgot to mention that, but this is 5 NXT wrestlers and tag teams to look out for in 2017. The next guy is a recent signing, Austin Aries. Austin Aries could possibly be a very great heel. He's going to need to put in some work in NXT. At first, I think Samoa Joe is going to come up first before Austin Aries, but I do see him doing some tremendous work. They're going to start a feud with him, and they're going to start a feud with Austin Aries and. Man, who's that guy? Oh, Baron Corbin. Yeah, that's what it was. Jeez, it's hard to remember someone that you want to forget. But yeah, so Baron Corbin's going to be the guy that's going to be facing Austin Aries for a little bit. Another guy to look out for now in 2017, might possibly hop onto the main event, is Sami Zayn. Put on a good performance at the U.S. Open Challenge when WWE Raw was in Montreal. That was just the match that messed up his shoulder, took it really over, but nonetheless, Sami Zayn's still a great in-ring worker. I like seeing him wrestle. I wasn't really sold on him from the beginning just because of how he came out in the ring and stuff. But when you look past that, you kind of see this guy who has a tremendous moveset, and his in-ring presence and his in-ring charisma and psychology is just. It's very good. He knows how to look after a 2 count. He knows he doesn't leave bland faces. He wears his emotions on his face, and that's what you need to do in this wrestling business, because that's how you tell stories. You need to do that in this business. Cannot be bland in this wrestling business. I can definitely tell you that, because then you'll be quickly identified as somebody that can just go. That's it. Number 5 is going to be Finn Balor. I don't really need to say much about Finn. I mean, he definitely put in a lot of work as far as in New Japan. The only downside to what we have is that now he's in his mid-30s, so now we have to either do an accelerated push or just have this guy slowly come up the ranks, and then he finally gets the title, in his late 30s. We can't have that. I think this guy could be a great WWE champion, but he needs to work on, that the whole accent thing might not go over. A lot of people, there's been a lot of players, a lot of people in the WWE who've gotten over the whole accent thing, but it's not something to nitpick at. It's something to just, that might be the make or break. It's something that WWE fans are really particular about sometimes, because if they don't understand what he's saying, then how is he going to be cutting promos, But it's funny because recently there was a photo on his Instagram where he was actually holding his own action figure in a toy store at the airport, and the Finn Balor toy actually has the WWE belt. So it has like an advanced accessory. So it might, it gives you the certification that WWE does see this guy having the WWE Championship belt, because why else would you have him as an action figure with the WWE belt? You don't see Fandango, Tyler Breeze, any of these other guys having the WWE belt, because, at the end of the day, who's going to buy those toys even if they have the WWE belt? That Finn Balor with the WWE belt is a rightful suit, because that's how WWE creative is going to find out. I mean, they probably have plans for him already winning the title someday. So that's what I had for that. So as far as this segment was going to be covering the up and coming, now let's go to the 5 busts currently wrestling today. The 5 busts, the 5 guys that I think don't deserve to be in the ring at all. Like I said, this isn't a knock on anyone's skill. This is just my personal opinion. So just don't, just take everything I say with a grain of salt. But I'm starting off with these guys first because I just don't think that they got it. I think they're going to be stagnant in NXT. Blake and Murphy. Blake and Murphy are 2 guys that shouldn't have got this title that they had. I think these guys they're probably going to stay in NXT the whole time. They're probably not going to get re-signed. The only good that's ever came out of this whole situation is Alexa Bliss. I think she could be a good wrestler, like a good Divas wrestler, a good manager. The only thing that's holding her back is her height. But anyway, that's what I think. Blake and Murphy are going to be stagnant in NXT for now. And that's not anyone's fault. It's just the fact that even when they're heels, there's a certain aura about them that just says that these guys aren't going to be prosperous. I mean, yeah, they're good as far as, their in-ring work and everything is good, but it's like after that, you see that the way that it's just, I just have a bad vibe about this whole thing. But with Blake and Murphy, you see that these guys are just, it's just, their act is whole boring, and none of them can cut a promo. Only Alexa Bliss can do something about that, as far as cutting promos goes. She actually has a good thing going, but their storylines with what they have is just, I'm not impressed by them at all. I'm not impressed by Blake and Murphy at all. The next bust that we have is Adam Rose. This isn't Adam Rose's fault. I mean, I remember watching his E60 on ESPN. And I do feel for the guy, but this is not a knock on him and his ability, but this whole party pooper and the party guy thing with Adam Rose has not gone over. I think creative has messed up very much, because this guy, he can do it. I mean, he could do it in the ring. He has a great spine buster. But the fact of the matter is that this guy is not on the good side of 30. So either they do something quick, or what's going to end up happening is that he doesn't get over now, and he's going to be doiling in the mid card, or even the lower mid card, and then his contract doesn't get renewed and he gets released. What I think is the best route for him now is that if he wants to, get paid a little more, he goes to TNA. He might even have a better career there. Same thing will happen with Brodus Clay. I think Brodus Clay has a better career over in TNA as Tyrus. That's how he should have been because he looks menacing. Same thing with Adam Rose. His Leo Kruger mercenary character went over really well in NXT in the early years, but he needs to have that in TNA or somewhere else because the way creative goes is that they'll just have you stuck on a gimmick and they won't change it. That's how it's happened for a long time. Another bust that we have is Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas doesn't look fit to me. I think his Bo Leave thing really was cool for a while, but then it just, him becoming a heel out of that didn't bode well with a lot of people, just because no one found him appealing at all to begin with. He is the son of IRS, and he is the brother of Bray Wyatt. So, that might have had some pull with him coming in earlier. But I mean, like I said, this talented generation of superstars with IRS and then Bray Wyatt and then Bo Dallas. This is another knock on creative because this is a culmination of creative and the fact that Bo Dallas looks like I don't know. It's just he doesn't look fit to me. He looks very sluggish. He doesn't look marketable. That's the thing. And once you have that look and people, I mean, it may sound vain, but that's how people see, WWE superstars nowadays. But anyway, enough of that. I think, like I said, we start with Blake and Murphy, Adam Rose, Bo Dallas. Another guy kind of having the Brodus Clay kind of complex is Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan does, out of the whole Wyatt family, this guy's been the most underutilized. Granted, he did have an injury last year, but I do think that he can go the TNA route, become a good heel there. If he goes somewhere else in the midst of his contract, no one's going to notice. I mean, they already have a lot of people in that stable anyway. There's already 3 people. You have Eric Rowan, Luke Harper, and then you have Braun Strowman, and then you have Bray Wyatt. You have those 4 guys. If you just take Eric Rowan out of the mix, then you still have a 3-man tag to worry about. Another guy that is the fault of WWE creative is Tyler Breeze. His push in the beginning was great, but to have the vanity, the whole narcissistic thing going on, I mean, it only works for a little bit, but then you have to own the character. And right now, he owned the character in NXT, but when you go from small scale to big scale, you need to definitely own the character that you're in. And I think that Tyler Breeze isn't doing that. I think Tyler Breeze is just sifting in the water, and he owns the character on his entrances and everything. But for him you need to add more to that. I want to see. I could see this gimmick getting over. I definitely can, but I need to see something more than what I'm seeing now by Tyler Breeze. He definitely has a moveset definitely has a moveset to counter the narcissistic gimmick that they do. Because that's the thing about narcissistic gimmicks is that, yeah, you could be narcissistic, but 9 times out of 10 with that gimmick, you have a guy who has a tremendous moveset or just mainly looks good. Like the bad side of the narcissistic thing is Lex Luger when he did the narcissist thing, but his signature being the flying forearm and him only having a few moves isn't how you do that. For you having a good narcissistic gimmick, you need to have a guy who's narcissistic and then him work as a heel and have the fans be like, have the fans say, wow, man, I really want to see this guy's pretty face being punched in. But that doesn't happen because this guy actually has an impressive moveset. So that's the rub of the narcissistic gimmick, is that he'll be untouchable, especially if he has a push. But when you're a jobber right now in the stage that they're in, that's what you see now. But now let me move on. So, like I said, my 5 busts currently wrestling today is Blake and Murphy, Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, Eric Rowan, and Tyler Breeze. This is all a culmination of maybe their in-ring ability, their marketability, or their the WWE creative not doing enough for these guys. That does still culminate as a bust because they're not living to the potential that WWE saw it, or the fans, or the critics like me. Now let's go on. I want to do the biggest atrocities in the wrestling business now. This is the things that I've seen watching wrestling nowadays. One of the saddest things in the wrestling business is when you see a free agent who's formerly a WWE superstar being available and then them not signing. What ended up happening is that Kurt Angle was a free agent. I think it was out of 2 years ago, a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and WWE had a chance to sign this guy. So from what I've heard is that Kurt Angle called Vince McMahon and he said, Vince, I'm available to get signed. So what's good? Like, what can we do? Vince, I think, rubs him the wrong way or says something that Triple H is in charge of talent. So you have to contact him. So Kurt Angle hits up Triple H, and long story short, Triple H doesn't get back to Kurt Angle. I think he said a few things that he didn't want to sign him, or however that goes. I think they had a long discussion about it, but they just didn't come to terms. And what ended up happening is that Kurt Angle re-signs with TNA and does, few pay-per-view gigs. What I probably can assume is that Kurt Angle was going to work a lot more dates, but the way that Kurt Angle works nowadays is that due to the fact that he's, not injury prone, but he's very susceptible to injuries sometime here and there, him having neck surgery too, you're looking at a guy who can only work part-time and be successful at it part-time. But I still thought that Kurt Angle not being signed in the WWE is one of the biggest atrocities in wrestling. He could have came and countered the Rusev angle. He could have been the guy who can defeat Rusev's undefeated streak at WrestleMania. That would have been perfect because as you see that Rusev is all rushing out leading up to WrestleMania last year, and here we have this guy who's all super patriotic about Russia, but who's the polar opposite of that? Who's like Mr. USA? Who's the guy who can counter what Rusev has and still be able to slam him too? I think Kurt Angle still has that ability with a little assistance from Rusev, but he could still angle slam him. It's Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle could have came out of the Royal Rumble, debuted just like AJ Styles again. He could have just debuted like he did at like AJ Styles did at the Royal Rumble, and had started a feud that led up to WrestleMania. Yeah, it would be part-time, but hell, like that would have been a marquee matchup. He could have had another match here in WrestleMania leading up to this one. So now we're here at we're here with a problem that we have no one. We have a card that's probably one of the worst cards in WrestleMania history, just because of key injuries. Now we don't have any stars to sign because now they're all booked up. That's one of the things that I found was just one of a bad way as far as wrestling goes. Another atrocity is marketable stars with movesets that do not have a push. Oh no, I'm sorry. Marketable stars with movesets that don't have a push or have a better image. I think that there's certain people in this wrestling business that, or in WWE in particular, that should be megastars, but due to the fact of poor booking, they're not. I think guys like Fandango, guys like Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro definitely have the look, the movesets, and the charisma to go to the top, but it's the fact that WWE creative doesn't have faith in these guys, or there's just something, there's always that one thing that WWE, creative doesn't like doing, and they don't like pushing certain stars that, that certain people do believe that are going to take them to the top. It's happened a lot, especially with even Cesaro. That's my main gripe about it. I think that Cesaro is a class act. I think he's one of the better wrestlers today. Even John Cena vouched for it. The Cesaro section signs that you've seen at various pay-per-views don't lie. This guy is he is a scene to be watched. His moveset is very impressive. You need to look up his matches and see that he actually can put on a great match. But yeah, those are the few biggest atrocities I've seen in the wrestling business. Marketable stars with movesets that don't have a push or have a better have a better image. These guys do need a repackaging. I think Fandango needs a repackaging. I personally think that Dolph Ziggler and Cesaro just need a push. Their image is fine, but with Cesaro, the dancing narcissistic guys do not work. Like they never. I don't know why they keep trying to resurrect this whole idea. Like the only successful dancing narcissistic guy was the Honky Tonk Man. But that was in an era where you were able to pull off gimmicks because social media doesn't exist. In social media now, you know me, like say if I was like I was a wrestler called, I don't know, the TV repairman. You might know me as a TV repairman on WWE's roster, but then you see my social media and you see that I'm just hanging out like in clubs or doing this and that. Like you need to have that veil of secrecy for gimmicks like that, like the Honky Tonk Man, to be over nowadays. But now in the days of social media, you don't have that because kayfabe back in the day was a lot more close knit than kayfabe is now. It's non-existent actually nowadays, and that's what's kind of killing gimmicks like the Honky Tonk Mans and gimmicks like gimmicks like Fandango's. I mean, Fandango's a dancing guy, but we know his other side just because of Total Divas and shows like that, and then you see his Instagram account and stuff like that. It's just like you get too many perspectives seeing that. And so you don't have faith in this, you don't have faith in the Fandango guy just because his gimmick is ridiculous, because this isn't the 80s anymore. We don't live where people can do these crazy gimmicks like that. The Doink the Clowns, the Yokozunas don't work because Yokozuna was Samoan. Like there's things that do not work nowadays because we're a lot smarter. We have the internet. Like I don't know why WWE thinks that we don't. But yeah, so that's basically what I've had today. I wanted to thank you guys for sticking around with what I had to say as far as this live podcast goes. Once again, this episode of Paper Review is brought to you guys by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Trade in your retro game consoles, your next-gen consoles, games, and accessories. You can follow them at Game Swappers on Instagram. You can follow Game Swappers on Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. Contact them at 909-267-4270. Game Swappers does ship to all 50 states, by the way. Like I said, so if you need a game that they have and then that they post, DM him and he'll be sure to ship it out to you. He's very quick to respond on some stuff like that, so be sure to contact them. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade your retro game consoles. Instagram, GAMESWAPPERS. All right, guys. Well, that is the end of the show. I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. Once again, I do believe I do have the best wrestling fans in the world. You guys do tune in, and I do see it. I do appreciate all of it. Be sure to give me all the critiques you guys have. I'm always open to ears. I'm always looking to fix and curtail shows if I need to make sure that I have a good production going on it. So that's it for now. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and during this live podcast. Have a good night.